Hello all. So today we are talking about historical foundations of kinesiology. This is chapter 4 and part 1 of a 4-part series. So let's get to it. Physical education, exercise science, and sport in the United States is built on a rich heritage. Our programs today have been influenced by philosophies, practices, and sports from other cultures, but particularly the programs of ancient Greece, Rome, Great Britain, Sweden, and Germany. Events in the United States, such as colonialism, the expanding frontier, the Great Depression, the growth of public school education, urbanization, and technology, have affected the growth and direction of our field. Within the United States, dynamic, visionary leaders advanced the scope and status of physical education, exercise science, and sport. This chapter provides a brief overview of the history of physical education, exercise science, and sport from ancient times to recent developments. Space limitations preclude a more detailed approach. Additional information is provided in the online learning center. Generally, the terms physical education and sport are used in reference to early historical developments, with physical education typically used to refer to school-based programs and sport used to refer to organized competitive contests. It is only in the latter decades of the 20th century that the term exercise science emerged. History enlightens us. It enables us to understand how physical education, exercise science, and sport have been shaped by the leaders and events of the past. History guides us. It suggests future possibilities and courses of action that might be most effective in the years to come. History is a scholarly field of study, focusing on the study of change over time. Historians engage in descriptive and interpretive research. Sport historians examine the historical developments of sport. They describe and analyze the actions and behaviors of leaders and examine and interpret significant events. They study the evolution of organizations and explore the emergence of trends. It is difficult to appreciate the evolution of sport without understanding the practices, philosophies, and beliefs that were popular at the time. Sport historians are interested in how the past has shaped sport as we experience it today. So sport history actually emerged as a discipline within the realm of physical education, exercise science, and sport in the late 1960s and early 1970s. As sport history grew as a specialized area of study, sport historians sought to investigate a wider array of topics within the realm of sport, including physical education, dance, play, concepts of the body, sport, and exercise. Sport historians also came to recognize that many groups, such as racial and ethnic minorities and females, have been overlooked in historical research on sport. Some of the questions sport historians may include: how did urbanization influence the development of sports in America? And how did segregation impact sports opportunities for blacks? As well as how did sport develop and what is its impact on youth culture? One profound influence on the development of physical education and sport was the civilization of ancient Greece. This is prehistoric times to 338 BC. The city-states of ancient Greece, particularly Athens, played a high value on physical activity, viewing sport, exercise, and fitness as integral to education and life. The Greek ideal stressed the unity of the mind, body, and spirit. Reflecting this principle, Greek education encompassed both intellectual and physical development. The expression "a sound mind and a sound body" exemplifies this belief. Gymnasiums served as centers for intellectual discussions as well as sport instruction and physical training. Males received instruction in physical activities such as wrestling, running, and jumping. Development of the body was valued, and the Greeks engaged in training to develop their physiques. The guiding principle of Athenian society, or the arete, was the pursuit of excellence, encouraged individuals to push themselves to achieve to the highest extent possible. In honor of the gods, Greeks held festivals where sporting events gave Greek men the opportunity to demonstrate the beauty of their physique as well as their athletic abilities. The most renowned of these festivals was the Olympic Games, held in honor of Zeus, the chief god. Beginning around 776 BC, the Olympic Games were held every 4 years and featured music, feasting, and athletic contests spanning at least 5 days. The Olympic Games were so important that the frequently warring city-states declared a truce so that the contestants from all city-states could safely travel and participate in the Games. What you will notice is that it was only males. There were no females at this period of time that participated in the Olympics. During the ancient Roman period, from 500 to 27 BC, physical activity was also regarded with importance, although its role was different than in Greece. Being fit and having athletic prowess were important to Rome's military success. Males received training in many physical activities such as archery, wrestling, riding, and fencing. And strength development was important so that the men could be successful in defending the state and waging war as Rome sought to expand its empire. After Rome conquered Greece, Greek gymnastics were introduced to the population but were not popular. Romans preferred professional sports, often blood sports, such as gladiatorial contests, men fighting wild animals, and men fighting each other to the death. Spectators enjoyed these and other events, such as chariot races. Feasting and drinking bouts in conjunction with little physical activity led to the decline of the Roman population's fitness. Ultimately, the Roman Empire came to an end, with the poor physical condition of its citizens one of the contributing factors in its decline. The programs of ancient Greece in particular influenced physical education programs in the United States. The Greek ideal of the unity of the mind and body is reflected in many physical education programs today. The development of the body and the pursuit of excellence stand as the motive for many who welcome the challenge of competition at their own level and who value achievement over winning. During the late 1700s and 1800s, early modern Europe experienced the rising tide of nationalism. Against this backdrop, physical education programs in Germany, Sweden, and Great Britain developed and expanded. During the 1800s, proponents of these programs introduced them to the United States. During the early modern European period, physical education in Germany focused on the development of strong citizens through programs in the schools and community associations. Physical education leaders of the time, such as Johann Bernhard Basedow, Johann Christoph Friedrich Gutsmuth, and Adolf Spiess, were instrumental in promoting school gymnastics. Their programs focused on exercises and instruction in activities such as gymnastics, games, marching, running, and wrestling. These leaders believed that physical education deserved a place in the school curriculum. In 1779, Basedow founded the Philanthropium, a school for boys located at Dessau. The curriculum of the school was guided by the philosophy of naturalism, and he designed his program to meet the individual needs of his students. Physical activity played an important part in the daily program of all students. 3 hours a day were devoted to sport instruction and recreation activities, and 2 hours a day to manual labor such as gardening. This was the first school in modern Europe that admitted boys from all classes, and that included physical education as part of the educational curriculum. Gutsmuth was an instructor in physical education at the Schnepfenthal Educational Institute, founded by Christian Gotthilf Salzmann. The school's program was greatly influenced by Basedow's naturalistic philosophy and incorporated many of his physical activities into the curriculum. As an instructor there for 50 years, Gutsmuth developed an extensive program of outdoor gymnastics, which included tumbling, vaulting, the horizontal bar, and rope ladders. 3 to 4 hours a day were devoted to physical activity. Because of his outstanding contributions, Gutsmuth is often referred to as one of the founders of modern physical education in Germany. Friedrich Ludwig Jahn developed the Turnverein movement, associations of gymnasts, in an effort to strengthen the country's youth. During his lifetime, Napoleon overran Germany in hopes of contributing to the effort to free Germany from Napoleonic control and reunify the country. Jan designed a gymnastics program to improve the fitness of German boys. In 1811, near Berlin, the first Turnplatz, an outdoor exercise area, was established. The Turnplatz had equipment for jumping, vaulting, balancing, and climbing. Here, the gymnasts known as turners practiced on the apparatus. Running, wrestling, and calisthenics helped the boys become strong and fit. Jan emphasized nationalism, building strong youth for the defense of Germany. Jan's system of gymnastics expanded throughout Germany. Turnvereins were formed in many cities. As Germans immigrated to the United States, they formed Turnvereins where they settled. Proponents of the German system of gymnastics promoted their system in the United States during the 1800s. Adolf Spiess advocated for the inclusion of gymnastics within the school curriculum. In the 1840s, influenced by the teachings of Gutsmuth and Jan, Spiess developed a school of gymnastics and persuaded German officials to incorporate gymnastics into schools' curriculum. He believed that schools should be interested in the total growth of the child, which included intellectual and physical development, and that gymnastics should receive the same consideration as other subjects such as math and language. Spiess developed progressions for different grades, different ability levels, and different genders. Sport, marching, and gymnastics accompanied by music were included in the curriculum. Discipline and obedience were emphasized as well. During the early 1800s, gymnastics in Sweden was influenced by nationalism as well. Per Henrik Ling played a major role in the development of gymnastics during this time. In 1814, Ling assumed the directorship of the Royal Gymnastics Central Institute in Stockholm. At the institute, he developed a training program for military men that emphasized exercises that stressed mass drills and movements from position to position, on command and in a prescribed progressive sequence. Ling developed exercise apparatus, including stall bars, vaulting boxes, and oblique ropes. In addition to his program of military gymnastics, Ling is credited with the development of medical, educational, and aesthetics gymnastics. He uses the sciences of anatomy and physiology to examine the effects of physical activity on the body. This emphasis on the scientific approach stands as one of Ling's greatest contributions to physical education. This understanding aided Ling in designing a program of medical and therapeutic exercises with the goal of restoring health to injured parts of the body and helping the weak regain their strength. His program of educational gymnastics laid the foundation of physical education in the schools. His aesthetic gymnastics emphasized the expression of feelings and thought through movement. An advocate of teacher training, Ling believed instructors of gymnastics needed to know proper techniques and have an understanding of the effect of exercises on the body. Ling's gymnastics became known as the Swedish system. Although the Swedish system of gymnastics used apparatus and emphasized precise movements in response to commands, it was less formal and strenuous than the German and Danish systems. Hjalmar Fredrik Ling, Per Ling's son, is recognized for his significant role in developing educational gymnastics. In 1861, Hjalmar Ling was put in charge of the educational gymnastics program at the Royal Gymnastics Central Institute, where he directed the program for 18 years. Ling developed written curriculum guides for elementary and secondary school gymnastics programs for both girls and boys, which included exercises arranged in progression by difficulty. From these tables of exercises, teachers could select and sequence exercises according to the age, ability, and needs of their students. His father's systematic and progressive approach to exercise was reflected in the day's order, a series of daily exercises for school children that move in sequence from head to toe. In the early 1800s, Danish gymnastics was also influenced by nationalism. Frans Nachtigal played a significant role in shaping physical education programs in Denmark and is regarded as the father of Danish physical education. In 1799, Nachtigal opened a private or outdoor gymnasium in Copenhagen, the first to be devoted to physical training. His curriculum was influenced by the work of Gutsmuth. In 1804, Nachtigal was appointed by the Danish king to serve as the director of a training school for teachers of gymnastics in the army. In 1809, Nachtigal began working with Danish public schools to incorporate physical education into their curriculum for boys at the elementary and secondary level. In 1821, Nachtigal was appointed director of gymnastics for Denmark and given authority over both civil and military gymnastics. Danish programs of gymnastics emphasize fitness and strength with formalized exercises performed on command and little individual expression allowed. Danish gymnastics used hanging ropes and ladders, poles for climbing, beams for balancing, and wooden horses for vaulting. Great Britain during the early 1800s took a different approach to physical education. While other European countries stressed organized programs of gymnastics, Great Britain emphasized programs of organized games and sports. Sports have a long, rich heritage in Great Britain. Swimming, rowing, archery, riding, hockey, tennis, golf, football, soccer, and cricket were played prior to the 1800s. Sport and recreational pursuits in Great Britain during this time were clearly divided among class lines or by socioeconomic status. Sports that required little equipment, such as football or soccer and boxing, were popular among the working class, whereas sports such as cricket and rugby found popularity among the upperclassmen, many of whom had played such sports at their private boarding schools. In addition to their love of sports, amateurism and its emphasis on playing for the love of the game is a lasting British legacy. One of the leaders of physical education in Great Britain was Archibald MacLaren. MacLaren had a background in both sports and medicine. He believed that it was important to treat physical training as a science. MacLaren recognized that physical action is an antidote for tension, nervousness, and fatigue from hard work. He noted that the recreational exercise found in games and sport is not enough in itself for growing boys and girls, and that physical exercise is essential to optimum growth and development. MacLaren believed both physical training and intellectual development were important. The mind and body represent a oneness in human beings and sustain and support each other. MacLaren stated that the exercises should be adapted to an individual's level of fitness and that exercises should be progressive in nature. During the early and mid-1800s, the philosophy of muscular Christianity developed and grew in popularity. Following the Reformation in the 16th century, Protestant sects, including the Puritans, enacted rigid prohibitions against participation in many physical activities in sports. Participation was viewed as sinful. Muscular Christianity argued that sport activities provided a means to teach and reinforce moral values and virtues, thus serving to build character. Proponents of muscular Christianity suggested that physical weakness reflected moral and spiritual weakness. Thus, engaging in physical activities and sport to develop the body reflected one's commitment to developing desirable Christian qualities. Other advocates of muscular Christianity believed that the body was the soul's temple, and as Christians, individuals were obligated to care for their physical well-being. Muscular Christianity engaged in sport to build moral character, helped reconcile sport and religion. The philosophy of muscular Christianity greatly influenced English educational institutions, which came to promote the inclusion of sport in school as a means to develop fair play, honor, and self-discipline among students and to prepare students for life. And that is it for today. We'll be talking more in our next section about physical education and sport in the United States versus in the European nations. All right. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk with you again soon.